Tango 1 at the top. We are at Pop-Up Vehicle. 10-4, Tango 1. You have control. Tango 1 copy. Stand by. Stand by.
Integrity, passion, resilience. That's what this place was built on. That's what our community is founded on. Don't act like the example, just be the example. This is the home of the greatest fitness community in the world. We're trying to create strong, able bodies, resilient to injury with a gas tank to get shit done. If there's one thing from this podcast, it's about taking immediate action, find the problem, fix the problem. This is your opportunity. It's either a hell yes or a fuck no. It's that simple. You're doing that. The Tango 1 podcast. Now is the time to take action. Now's the time to do more and be more.
Yeah, I had a great workout. How about you?
Good. We got baby time in with Nikki and Owen.
Oh, she had Owen out here?
Pardon?
She had Owen out here today with you?
Yep.
Oh, nice. Yep. Nice. Was he crying or he's just laying there like normal, totally relaxed?
No, he was good. He was definitely more alert because he's older now, but Braun is definitely interested in all things Owen, so that's cute. And he got a lot of holding between Nikki and I, let's just say. So
nice, very nice. Sorry I'm late. I went to crack my EAAs and take my focus like I do before every podcast, my HQ focus, and I spilled it on my keyboard. And then when I jumped to kind of clean it, I pulled the wires out of the screen. It was like it was my first day in the studio today. So anyways, if you're looking for HQ focus and you don't want to spill anything because you are focused, go there on their website. You can use code Tango15. What is it in this stuff that makes it work so well? This stuff is incredible. Talking to you.
Yeah, I'm just watching you like down your focus and your drink here. B vitamins are awesome. Nootropics are awesome. They're good for keeping you sharp, and I find that it helps me with, or it's something that I recommend for people when they say that they have like an afternoon slump. It works pretty much immediately. So I love focus. It's one of my daily go-tos.
All right, let's get this thing rolling. You're still in your sweatpants, I know. So it's hard to get the jump on things, but you know, we're got my wife on here. If you didn't notice already by the banter, normally 2:00 for us is espresso time. Today it is espresso time, but we decided to do it. She's at home and I'm at the office because we want to get this one recorded on so we can get a podcast out, a really good podcast. We want to talk today about some things. We're going to talk about our 6-week transformation program. Don't tune out if you didn't do the 6-week transformation program though, because we are going to kind of let the cats out of the bag on how we have seen success through our members, through ourselves, on how to transform and how to continue that transformation going forward. So if you're into self-growth through fitness, through nutrition, through lifestyle and habits, then stay tuned because that's what we're going to talk about a lot here today. As usual, my wife will make fun of me a ton. I know the ladies who listen to it get a kick out of that. But let's get rolling. So welcome to Tango 1 Podcast, everybody. Like I said, I got my co-host today, or my guest is going to be my wife, Dani Smith, the founder of the Garage Gym with me, but also she has taken our fuel program to a whole new level. And I don't mean in terms of like financial success. I mean in terms of success for our members. And that is like the biggest thing is we are so focused on trying to get people, you know, better and improve that it like the other stuff just kind of comes with it. Like any gym or any person, a salesman who's just trying to like sell rather than solve the problem and get results is sure to fail and sure to let you down. So I'm super proud of what you've done so far with these people. And I'm really looking forward to the next step, being probably your biggest client, since I am your guinea pig for everything. And there's a couple things I want to talk to you about today. So welcome to the show, Dani.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here in your office.
Yeah, you're in my office at home. Is that a Tango 1 shirt? Is that my Tango 1 shirt, or is that at least yours?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
What's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine.
No, sounds good. Let's kick right into it. So I want to start by talking about like my nutrition program, what we got going on, because we're using it with one of my great clients right now, and I'm just curious, and I know that's something you've been dabbling in. It's a very hot topic word, is reverse dieting. So kind of like if you could take me through reverse dieting or take the guest through it, because I don't completely understand it. I just follow what you tell me to do.
Yeah, you're a great student. I think that
I'm not a great
it's
student. I'm
nice.
a great follower. I don't think I'm actually learning, but yeah. Anyways, I appreciate the compliment though.
Well, yes, because you do ask Google on a regular basis the same questions over and over. And I'm sure she's very happy with you about asking how many ounces convert to grams over and over and over again. So
How
maybe
many
you are.
grams is 4 ounces of chicken?
Yeah, 4 ounces. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Um,
8.5.
yeah, reverse dieting is not anything new. It is something that it's necessary. So whether it be basically the whole goal of life, I think, anyways, is to be able to eat as much food, healthy whole foods as possible, while still leading you to your goals. It's not to eat the least amount, which is, I think, something a lot of people try for. So that being said, reverse dieting is just making sure that you are eating just a little bit more food as you go along to see how that progresses with the way that your body metabolizes food. So essentially, it's the reverse of a diet.
So for the example, the person I'm working with, we won't even name her. So she's really hard worker, high metabolism, lifts a lot of weights. Her goals are to get stronger. What we're doing with her, what you're doing with her, and I'm just kind of the middleman of that part of it. I'm doing the gym part of it. Is we're raising the calories, or are we raising what are we raising exactly every couple of weeks, every week? Take us just through kind of the sequence of that.
It depends. Like every other nutrition answer, it depends. So everyone's different, and it's a lot of trial and error, and it has to do with a lot of feedback from the person who is doing the deficit or the reverse diet or the maintenance or whatever it is that you're doing. I don't make any blanket changes except for with Tony, because Tony's my guinea pig, so I'm allowed to do that. But when it comes to like someone who has specific goals, like a member in the gym or a fuel member, that's not going to be so cut and dry. So it's going to be increasing based off of what I see. So it's going to be based off of what the feedback is from that person. If they tell me about how their energy is, if they tell me about how their strength is, if there is a specific timeline towards their goal, then that's going to make a difference too. So it's just, we're not trying to bro it out with doing a bulk and giving, in particular a female client, or even just a smaller client, let's say, 500 extra calories. Just okay, so tomorrow now you're going to start with 500 extra calories a day. That's not going to feel good. You're not going to digest that food properly, and it's going to be very overwhelming. So what we're trying to do is just be increasing, whether it's a total overall calorie count or whether it's a very specific protein amount, more carbs, more fats. It kind of just depends. So we're doing it slowly and really trying to give your body a chance, like Corey and I always talk about. This is Corey's saying that your body's not like a light switch. So we give it some time to adjust and see how that adjustment works.
I like that saying. That's a good example. So like with that client that I have, she is a smaller person, like smaller framed. The goal, we're raising calories and we're raising like all the macros that go with that. But the goal isn't to actually put more weight onto her. Like we don't actually anticipate her putting on much weight at all, like with her build and her size. And then with me, I am trying to actually put a little bit of, we're experimenting and I'm trying to put some size on for summer. I've got to about as lean as I like to be in terms of aesthetics, but more importantly, in terms of performance. I find myself, if I get under, I could be at 195, 200 is where I like to be when I'm really lifting my heavy weights. Like if I was going to in the deadlift competitions up south of the border, but when I am down in performance, I like to be about, 190 to 185. Right now I'm over 185 and I find that performance is starting to slack a little bit. I don't feel as strong and as heavy. So I want to put that weight on both for aesthetics to see what I can do, but also just to, I want to be able to pull a little bit more, move a little bit faster when I get on the machines and when I, pull it on the weights. So for me, we're creeping that thing up. And I've noticed like a significant, I feel like the protein has really been jumping up through the roof. Like we increased significantly in protein. I feel so full and like so full and right away, like so much more full of energy and ability. It's weird.
Yes. So again, with men to women, it's going to be completely different potentially as well. So with a female who is reverse dieting, for instance, since that's the topic, and let's say a male who's reverse dieting, those macros might be different in the way that they feel. So typically for energy, for instance, or for, let's say, muscle growth, increasing that protein is going to be essential, but it depends on how that looks on you and how it feels on you. So again, for you in particular, that's why everything is very personalized. For you, it depends on you telling me all of those things that you're telling me right now about what feels good on you. And it's not so much about like putting on weight. That's kind of a bro science way of bulking, for instance, because
that's where I have my PhD.
Yeah. PhD, that's cute. But that's where like putting on weight, like, but if you didn't put on weight but you felt amazing, that's the point, right?
Right. No, that is the point. Kind of. No. And I what I think is funny, is in particular with females too, is when we run into the 6WT, and right now I have a PT client who's, like needs to lose some weight. We know that's the case. There's no hiding that. However, the answer to him losing weight is actually him eating more, which is, I find, like one of the like oxymorons of the program we run. You're like, people are like coming here, they're like, the 6WT, for the most part, we are putting people on a deficit, meaning that we want them to lose, like, basically, if you're 200 pounds, we're putting you down to like the weight of a 190-pound person in your caloric intake. But most people, for them, that's actually a spike in what they normally eat. That's what we find. I mean, we've now run close to 500 people through this thing, and that's what we're finding with, I would say, 90%. It's a spike in what they're eating, in the amount of food they're eating, I should say.
Yeah, and that's essentially true. It's teaching your body to work properly, and it's teaching your reverse dieting is teaching you technically that would be a great place to start. And most people who come in and start with the fuel program, for instance, are going to start with more food than they are typically eating, because whether you're trying to lose weight, or whether you're fresh off the couch, or whether you are someone who is trying to just kind of lose that last 5 to 10 pounds, perhaps, if they're really going for something aesthetic, or if they're going for maybe a weight class situation, making sure that your body is working properly is where it's at. You can't force your body to lose the fat, because if you could, then I would not be doing this job. So like, if it was that easy, then, and if our bodies weren't all fucked up from dieting over the last however many years, then that would be an easy thing to do, because then it would be a simple numbers game. However, it's not. So reverse dieting is essential for many people. And like you said about the people who are starting and actually eating more food, it is awesome to see, and it almost creates that trusting of the process faster once they actually can get all of the food in. It's amazing to hear. That's my favorite saying from people who are participating in our challenges, for instance, is I can't believe the amount of food I'm eating, and my goals are coming closer. Like, I'm losing the weight, or I look better, or my clothes are feeling looser.
Yeah, I think I mean, I put on the post the other day for the team that's in the Amazing Race, 6WT, is like stop thinking of this as a diet. This is how we eat. This is how I eat. Like, and that is essentially, at our house, that is how we eat. That's how our children eat. It's not a diet. It's how we fuel ourselves. It is our nutrition program. Diet's just the word that's become the mainstream, and reverse dieting is, I mean, maybe that's telling people that it's a diet, and that gets their head right to actually eat more because it's called a diet. But this is the way we eat because we want to do certain things in life. performance and health wise. And so with my client right now, which is kind of also a funny thing, and I think what makes us a little bit unique in this duo that we have, and now we've had Corey just finished his precision nutrition, and obviously Jacqueline, who's new to the game with us, but has like a deep background in nutrition, is continuing her education every day with school. And Joe and our team is like, I'm working with this guy and he's not feeling like he's getting the results. He goes to talk to you and your answer, because I really feel like a lot of people think like Tony just wants me to lift big weights because of the bro science thing. And then they go to the nutrition specialist who's helping him to cut some weight. And the answer was, well, we need you to actually lift heavier weights, and not get the report back that it's like, hey, we need to actually increase the resistance on customer X's amount of weights because we're not getting enough of a transformation for the protein. So you got to eat your protein, you got to lift heavier weights. It's basically you send them back to me. And so it's almost like you confirm the bro science, send it back to me instead of it. I feel like if I was a typical trainer in a good life type setting, I'm doing the programming, I'm doing the nutrition, and like people kind of like that second opinion that doesn't waver, in my opinion. And that's what I've found. And I think that's what kind of makes us unique. And then just in terms of the whole 6WT, you get your coach, but then you go to the other coach and they're like, yeah, you got to do that. Are you eating your protein? You're not even hitting your macros. People are like, I'm not getting the results. You're like, well, I pull up your thing. You haven't hit your food one time. Like, you don't get results without it's a whole thing that we keep talking on this podcast. There's the outcome manifestation, but in between, you got to do the work. If you don't do it, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get to where you want. You can get close, but so aim small, miss small. And I think that's really unique with us and our team. And I loved that part about the 6WT was just that constant communication and the reinforcement to people like, yeah, you're on the right track. Just keep doing what you're doing, but do it a little bit better.
Yeah. And especially with when it comes to trusting the process and everyone being on the same page, that our team is always on the same page. We are always going to tell you the same thing. It might be just coming from a different mouth. So that's helpful because sometimes people don't see it as that as well. Some people will see it as like, maybe they just didn't listen to what you had to say at that moment because you told them 3 things. And so maybe when they come to me for that one thing that they just weren't really quite ready to hear, let's say, and it just resonates with them for some reason. So I think that having a number of people on our team who are very dedicated to all of the members' success is the most important part of why everyone is successful in the gym.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So with me, when people are signing up for the 6WT, and there might be people listening, it's kind of the smaller people that I feel scared to have, like, or I feel that I shouldn't say scared. I want them because I don't want people to not get the results they want. Right. And I find like smaller people when they join I'm like, man, like, what does this person, how are we going to be able to transform this tiny person? And that's where this one was. Even like we've had such great success in putting lean muscle. Lean muscle is like, so everybody listening, it's not a weight loss competition. Like lean muscle has actually been the difference. The lean muscle gained has actually made the difference in the winners almost every year since we've started this thing. It's been the person who's at that greatest number, not the guy who lost 25 pounds, but the person who put on 3 or 4 pounds of muscle, who seems to be winning this competition year in, year out. And it's been, out of curiosity's sake for anybody, it's switched. So we've done 6 or 7 and it's gone guy, girl, guy, girl, guy, girl, which has also been interesting. But what I wanted to say about this one, and there was 2 people in particular that very, very fit. They've done this challenge before. They pay attention to what they eat. They pay attention to what they lift, and they signed up for the 6WT and they work out together and they're partners in this race. And their transformations were incredible. Like they gained 3.8%, in muscle, and their lifts, they PR'd all their lifts, yet lost weight on their torsos. Like that is just like, there's always something that that's what I love about being kind of like watching you do this, is like, you're able to find these results with people no matter where they are. Like I would consider those 2 people like in the advanced level. It's really easy to take somebody who's 80 pounds overweight for us to give them a program that'll work. But those people, that's fine tuning. So like, what did you do there differently this year to kind of really fire up the results on some of those? I could name 10 of them that did that.
I wouldn't say that anything is quite different in maybe perhaps what I did or maybe what the coaches did. I do think that no matter what, if you are participating in a challenge like this, for instance, just that extra focus and just that extra accountability and just that extra perhaps push to go for a heavier weight because you know that, or be slightly more active in your day, is going to make the difference. So whether you are, again, coming off the couch and you're brand new, of course, like you said, for the most part, any improvements in nutrition and any improvements on activity are going to be noticed, and they're going to typically show when it comes to weight, body fat, and muscle. Along the line of people, so the people you're talking about in for instance, they one of them has been a fuel client for of mine for a long time, and she's been killing it this entire time. And it's again, I think that it's truly motivation, like something that she's working towards. She is excellent at following directions, and she loves the process. Some of it, I think, especially some of the particular transformations this time, I think, are a little bit more, they revolve around making your own choices, because we didn't have a meal plan. So you were making the choice of what types of foods that you were eating, because that is what's going to happen later on after the 6 weeks. So I think a little more focus, a little more motivation, lots of accountability, which are not different from any other challenge, but perhaps for those people in particular, it was the fact that they were choosing the foods that they love to eat, and it was kind of made it just easy that way. So I think it's just a number of things.
Good. And like for me, what I was seeing is we've really, and I know with my Tango One people, my Tactical Life program, guys and girls that I'm working with, the remote clients, and even with the people who are working with me for the Reload programs, which is like my business, I call it business mentorship, but I'm not going in there and trying to teach them how to run a business. I'm trying to teach them how to run themselves and how to like better establish a team. Lost you there. Yeah, so where I was going before we had the little technical difficulties, I'm not going in to work with these businesses in terms of trying to fix their business. I mean, I am not a business consultant for that, man. I'm trying to go in and help them do what I do best, which is establishing habits, which will help them control their life, which will then help them to influence and breed culture within their teams, set goals, set missions, and go hammer them out. So instead of trying to focus so much on the goal, yeah, we establish goals, but then we want to implement habits that are going to take place that will get you towards those goals. By implementing habits, you're going to get to the goals and continue to surpass those goals once you're there. I think people are really, they get so focused on the macro of that goal that they forget about the little micro, which is that daily habit that might get instilled. So in a lot of nutrition, and maybe us, we always wanted to make the 6WT fun and challenging. And so a lot of the time, in past challenges, we've done a lot of extra work in the gym. And there's nothing wrong with extra work in the gym, don't get me wrong, but that is not the only answer. And that is not even probably the best answer. What we did this time with this race is we implemented some habits. We introduced some things that you and I are doing that have really helped us to, we'll get into this a little bit more after, but maybe like find more peace. And the more peace, the more my body is able to rest and digest. And so what we did, we had people go out for rucks. Rucking is, walking with a backpack with some weights in it, not much weight, 20 pounds, 40 pounds, whatever that is. We had people go for walks. We had people do puzzles. We had people reading. We had people, taking 10 minutes for themselves, shutting off their phones an hour before bed. All these little things, they're checking boxes in your health and fitness. And people don't see those little habits because it's not doing a bunch of burpees. It's not, hammering out some deadlifts or bench press. And I think that's what we really hammered home this time. And the looks and the smiles on these people's faces when they would complete a checkpoint, or the feedback I was getting just from the simple puzzle. So many people are now doing puzzles all the time. Like they're like, I'm doing the puzzles all the time. I feel so zen. Like, we would say, put on a puzzle and some classical music or some jazz. And people are just getting such recharge from that then when they show up for their 1 hour here in the gym, they're fucking killing it at a different level, which is, I think, instead of coming in all gassed out and then, only being able to go 70-80%, not totally being in the moment of their lift because they've been exercising and fight and flight essentially all day long, That's been the biggest difference, I think, in this challenge and with a lot of the success. So bang that in with, obviously some great programming, some great nutrition, some great coaching. We can't, doesn't matter, like we've been talking all along, it doesn't matter how great your plan is in SWAT. Like I can make the best plan to raid this building as I possibly could. But if you don't have the team to execute it, you're not going to win. And that was what it was from you and I setting up this program to our coaches implementing it to the members just hammering it out and focusing on those things. I think it's been great. And two people that really killed it, and like Irv, I'd love if you could flash their picture on here. Our sponsors for this podcast, as always, is Desjardins Insurance, the Murray Insurance team. These guys, Ian and Kara Murray, are OGs with Kingsville. They jumped into this challenge, and they were two of the people. Like they have their triplets, and they're taking pictures that point clearly on these hikes. That was the stuff that really makes it. So, Team Murray Insurance, if you're looking for, the full deal to cover yourself, whether it be auto, personal, finance, go talk to Ian and Kara or their team. You can reach them on Instagram at Team Murray Insurance. Let them know that I sent you and congratulate them on finishing the 6WT. So long ramble there, Danny. But yeah, what do you think was of all those habits and all those challenges we kind of put in there, what was the one that you got the best feedback on? Maybe the one that surprised you? Mine was for sure the puzzles.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we focused on, and in most of our challenges, we focus on all of the pillars of health. So yes, we are going to use exercise and nutrition as being the main players of those, but lowering stress, increasing social, social interactions, or, getting them a little bit out of their comfort zone and having a partner this time was a big one. Sleep. So help with sleep, or a sleep routine, or quiet time, that kind of thing. Those are all important for, like you said, lowering or balancing hormones and making sure that your body is not just running on empty all the time. I won't say which one everyone liked the most. I will say the one that everyone liked the least, and it was in mindful eating. So mindful eating.
You know what? Sorry to cut you off, but I had some good ones. You go first, but I just actually literally like 10 minutes ago had one come back with super positive, 3 in a row, which is weird. So go ahead. People hated this thing. Go.
Yeah, it was even worse than the other thing that they had to eat during one of their challenges. So the complaints for the most part were the fact that it wasn't about sitting down and not looking at a screen or not talking to anyone. I think most people in life in general do not sit down to eat their lunch without working at the same time, without watching the TV, without scrolling on their phone. I truly don't think that. So one, it was difficult. So people were very upset about this. They felt like this was the worst challenge because their food got cold. Those must have been my bougie members, but so eating as slow as they could, and and they noticed that their mind would start to wander, and then it always ended up being that it wandered to hate. They hated the challenge, and they were not looking forward to taking their next bite and putting their fork down because their food was getting colder and they were hating it even more.
So the idea of the challenges, guys who are listening, it was like to introduce people to different habits that they might want to keep going down the road. The habits that we had to do every single day, which was me time. So meaning just 10 minutes of just time with just yourself, to whether that's reading, journaling, meditating, just sitting with your eyes closed, whatever that might be. There was the blackout your screens, and which was an hour before bed, and drinking your water. So those are 3 things that we hope people will instill constantly. Then the challenges were just introducing people to habits that have worked very well for us that you might want to instill. And I don't do puzzles on the regular, but I will do a puzzle in place of maybe I've just like kind of drawn out with books for a bit. It's like I'm going to like back off on the reading. I'm going to spend a little bit more time doing puzzles, or maybe now I'm going to really lean into reading and back off the puzzles. And the weather's changed, I'd like to go for more rucks. And it's nicer. We just want to introduce you to little things that might spark a flame to add 1 positive good habit, or 2 or 5 if you left with that, even better. So I got some good feedback on the mindful eating challenge and on the puzzle challenge. Where I got the negative feedback was the cold showers. People said that they hated those. And I'll tell you guys, there's all the, you can talk all the physiological benefits of the cold showers, which, go read it all. What is it? With Wim Hof, you can read all that stuff. But for me, I use cold showers, one, as a way to kind of cool my body down before bed at nighttime, but also like to recharge myself greatly. But I use it as a test. So I know, like, we're talking fight or flight, rest or digest. And I don't know if there's science behind this, but this is kind of my own little bro science, is when I can crank that water and I can stand there and keep my breathing through the, minute to 2 minutes of cold shower, I know that my stress level is down. I know that I'm in a pretty good place. When I can't keep that breath, my stress is up. And that often, it's not even like the physical stress or mental stress. It's days after drinking. Like, you get those after drink anxieties, and I can't keep my heart rate calm. Like, so that shower is kind of a test to me to let me know I don't wear a Whoop. I don't do any of that stuff. It kind of gets me to the right spot to be like, hey, you know what? I got to calm it down. I got to back it off of my lifts. I got to make some time for me today to read, to get away, to get outside, to put the phone away, and gives me a good gauge of where I'm going to be. So that one was it for me with the negative challenges.
Yeah, I think that, everyone had different, I think everyone loved the puzzles, and I think that everyone loved going to places where they either had never been and they've been around this area for a really long time. But I think it was nice to get everyone else outside and into more sunlight, or perhaps inclement weather, depending on when you chose to go. But just giving people some extra things that were out of the ordinary to get them out of their, let's say habits are good in one way, but they can kind of limit you in other ways. So I think that getting them out of their typical habits of like running the same 5K all the time, the same route every time, was a nice plus as well.
Yeah. Getting out of that same, like, getting out of the square, getting out of the rat race is kind of what I say. And, during the 75 hard that you and I did last summer, I came to a very good realization. I've obviously done a lot of self-work over the last couple of years with, trying to get, extract some demons and get myself into better and, get away from alcohol a little bit more. And during 75 hard, I came to a realization that as hard as that challenge was, I was spending so much more time doing really nothing. I wasn't doing nothing. I was walking or rucking or reading, but like away from screens, away from stress, away from things. And then during that challenge, I read a book. What's the book? Rav Kant. Noah gave us the white cover.
The almanac.
Yeah, the almanac of, I can never get this name right.
Ravi Kant.
Ravi Kant. Yeah, and in that thing, it said something. It's to the effect of, you don't find happiness. Sorry, happiness is not joy. Happiness is peace. And that's what I'm finding. The more peace I can bring, the more calmness I can bring to my life, the happier I am feeling. Because now when I'm in those moments and I'm surrounded by the children or you or our family or our friends or just nature in general, I'm seeing things in a different light because I'm so relaxed and I'm so enjoying the moment rather than caught up trying to, people are happiness is joy. Well, when happiness is joy, that's when you're chasing after alcohol. You're chasing after, money or more things, like not even necessarily more things like, like getting the kids into more sports or getting, the kids to do more things or going to more places that in the rat race rather than actually going to just relax and do things as a family. And I think that was the biggest takeaway for me from the 75. And I wanted to really implement that here in the 6WT as well as in the Tango One Solutions with the TAC Life. I simultaneously did a 60-day challenge with my TAC Life team. And that was what we worked on there too, was finding peace and we have in that challenge, we took a 3-hour nutrition break, which I felt was amazing. It was like 3 hours, eat what you want, have some drinks. And I felt that was a lot better. I know a lot of our members on Saturday after their way outs and Sundays went out and crushed. I don't blame them. I've been there and done that. Went out and crushed pizza, and GL had the food truck out there and they crushed all that. And they were dying on Sunday, which makes it that much easier to get back on track when you feel your stomach, thunder there, feeling the stomach react to that kind of like food that you're not used to, which was crazy. How long does it take you to kind of get into that, your belly getting used to just eating those whole foods, would you think? Or do you even know? That's maybe a challenging question. Google.
Again, depends on where you start. So
Depends.
I think, yep.
Commit.
It depends. For people who have had a lifetime of packaged foods or processed foods, then it's definitely going to take their stomachs a long time to get right, and even they might need some extra help when it comes to making sure that their gut biome is not leaky, or they don't have they have the proper probiotic, prebiotic. There's so many intricate parts to that it totally would just be, if you're noticing that if you're someone who's trying to implement more whole foods and they're bothering your stomach, back off a little bit, do a little bit at a time. So if you notice that like something like a cruciferous vegetable is really upsetting your stomach, it's okay. Just maybe cut that portion down and fill the rest of the vegetable portion with maybe some foods that feel really good to you, and then slowly increase from there. Because it's not that it's a bad food. It might be for you. Eventually you might just give up on it, but don't give up on it just because you decided that today you're going to eat 2 cups of half-cooked broccoli. That's going to hurt most people's guts.
Yeah, I don't understand the words that are coming out of your mouth. What was that? What was it?
It's not part of your PhD program?
No, definitely not in it's not, definitely not my books. But so yeah, you don't tell me, just let me figure it out myself. Okay, thanks.
So
I was asking for the people listening, not for myself.
So the cruciferous vegetables are going to be something like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, certain vegetables that are known to be more sulfurous, so they're automatically going to be a little bit harder to digest. So that's something that you could also do, is consider the types of foods that you're eating and cook them in a different way, or cook them more. For instance, that would be helpful for someone who is looking to make more whole food choices in their daily life.
Right. Good. Awesome, man. I think we've killed that one. So, I think really like what it all comes down to, guys, if you want to succeed in your fitness and feel a little bit better, it's not just about taking things away. Finding what your problems are is great. If you really want to level up, take away the bad habit and replace it with a good habit. If you're a smoker, take away that smoking and replace it with 10 minutes of reading. Like if you just do that 1 for 1, you're going to be so far ahead. Because in my opinion, you take away a bad, so you go down, and then you add another one on top of that. So you're actually like going up by 2, right? You're taking away a bad. So there's a +1, add a good habit in place of it. Now you're at +2. And if you get a +2 every single day, or every single month, you add another +2, by the end of that year, you're going to be, that's what it is. Consistency is king. Transformation for us, it is not about like, getting down. We could get people down real skinny, right? By just cutting their calories and reducing and restricting. But that's not sustainable. That's not a transformation. That's something that the second you take your foot off the pedal, you're going to go back. We want to transform, which means changing to something else, becoming something better in terms of this program, a better version of you, and hanging on to that forever. And we know that, age is kind of like that gravity. I like to say age is the gravity. So continuously adding better habits at 43 for me has been the key to kind of staying ahead, in my opinion. Is like, I'm battling age, but how I battle age is just by adding a couple of good habits every single year that are going to help me to balance against that gravity that wants to pull me down.
And when we're making a transformation, like, remember, this is just like a springboard into, like you said, like going into the next step, right? And it's not going to be a sprint. It's going to be a whole lifelong commitment to being healthier and eating better food, but it's going to be food that you like. So that's what we're trying to instill, is to choose activities that you love, because that's what you're going to go to when you decide that you feel like you want to be active. Go to a gym that you love and the people there that you love, so that you actually make a commitment to go there and you want to step in the doorstep. Choose foods that you love, so that healthy whole foods that you love, so that most of the time that's what you're eating, and you're looking forward to your next meal. Then once you decide that, oh, okay, I might have a 3-hour nutrition break, or I might choose something or go to somewhere where it's out of your control, that you've put in so much work you've put in, but it's not even work because it's just a natural thing because you've picked all the things that you like. So same with the habits too. If you're someone who loves to read more, make that time. I think that with the 75 hard, especially, it just shows you how much time you have available to do the things that you love. It's not something that you should be dreading because you're never going to stick with it if you dread it.
Yeah, if you're having trouble with planning your day, planning your week, accomplishing task prioritization, hit me up. Hit me up on a DM, guys. That is where I think I excel. I think that's where my expertise lies. I'd love to help you there. And that's fixing that alone puts so many people in that position to win. It's all about putting yourself in position to get wins, because the more proactive you are early in your week, early in your day, early in anything, the more reactive you can afford to be later. Otherwise, you end up falling around, chasing your own tail over and over and over again. Dani, great job in this program. Where we want to go with this. There was all kinds of things we wanted to talk about. We stuck here pretty good, and I think that's a good conversation. There's some other stuff we want to get into, maybe starting next week. You're going to be on the show just a little bit more based on, necessary, not because the fans are asking for it. Just kidding. No, we've had such great feedback from episodes with Dani on it. We're going to get her on here more. If you hadn't heard, go back and listen to the episode with Mike Dell a couple of weeks ago. It was actually dynamite, and we've been having so much fun on this podcast. And it's nice having my espresso with you, like in a conversation that just keeps us going. This is how we talk at our dinner table. The two of us, it's just usually only for 15 minutes a day. So that is one thing I suggest to people. If you are in a relationship, set a habit for yourselves too. Set that habit where you're actually going to sit down and speak like we are right now, look in each other's eyes. No phones. That's the best part of the podcast. You kind of put everything off because you have to, but imagine you did that in real life every single day with your children, with your spouse, your loved ones, or even like you're somebody who runs a team, doing that with some people that work for you or with you, however you want to look at that. With you is a better word than for you. So anyways, great job, Dani. I appreciate you coming on here today, and I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Remember to go on to the website. You can go follow us, subscribe. I'd really, really appreciate that. And leave us a rating and review. And if you're looking for the best performance clothing, go to 10,000. You'll see that link in my bio. You can use code TANGO15 there. They've got the best tactical pants, but the summer's coming. Jump in and grab I really recommend the interval shorts or the tactical short or the session short. They're all just amazing things. I know, Dani, you love how those look on me, right?
Yep.
If you can see the stone face, those of you listening, if you can see the stone face. And by the way, you can now watch this thing on Spotify, which is a huge step in our show. So thank you, Irvin, for constantly making this show the best and all the editing you do. If you guys need Irvin at Irvin Marketing, hit me up and I will set you up with him. He's a fantastic guy to work with. That's a wrap.
Now's the time to do more and be more.